I never thought a dog would break something I had been holding together for years, because there are wounds time doesn't heal. Sometimes they're healed by something that doesn't even speak. I had learned to live closed off. Believing distance was a form of protection. And then he arrived, small, quiet, easy for anyone to ignore. He brought no promises, no solutions, just a presence that began to occupy a place I thought was sealed shut. This is not a story about rescuing an animal. It's about how something so fragile and small can tear down an immense barrier and lower your defenses and remind you that feeling is not always a threat. Sometimes it's allowing yourself to become someone you thought was impossible. I never thought a dog would break something I had been holding together for years, because there are wounds time doesn't heal. Sometimes they're healed by something that doesn't even speak. I had learned to live closed off. Believing distance was a form of protection. And then he arrived, small, quiet, easy for anyone to ignore. He brought no promises, no solutions, just a presence that began to occupy a place I thought was sealed shut. This is not a story about rescuing an animal. It's about how something so fragile and small can tear down an immense barrier and lower your defenses and remind you that feeling is not always a threat. Sometimes it's allowing yourself to become someone you thought was impossible. Story: when I was young, I hated hugs. It wasn't embarrassment. It was a physical discomfort that was hard to explain. Touch made my body shut down. I learned to live keeping distance. For many, it was coldness. For me, it was protection. One day, my mother took me to a house where dogs were given up for adoption. Barking, boxes, eyes searching for an owner. There were bigger dogs, more beautiful, more eye-catching. And then there was him, small, black, easy to overlook. He didn't jump. He didn't compete. He just looked, and his gaze inspired a quiet tenderness in me. As if he wasn't trying to convince anyone, just waiting. I understood something without saying it. The others would be chosen. He might not. He had fewer chances, so I didn't think much about it. I simply chose him. At first it was strange. He lived in the house. But he was still the dog, the pet, something external to me. I remained distant. He seemed to respect that space. He forced nothing. He was just there. And that being there changed everything. With time, he stopped being an animal in the house. He became someone else in the family. And with me, it was different. His hugs didn't ask permission. He would lay across my legs as if that place had always belonged to him. As if he found peace there. At first, my body tensed. I felt the old discomfort. But he demanded nothing. He just trusted, even when I rejected him. And that trust dismantled my defenses. With him, I learned that contact is not always invasion. Sometimes it's refuge. We didn't need big words to build a bond. It was enough to be present when it mattered. My body gained, it learned to relax. My heart gained, it learned to accept affection. My perspective gained, it learned to see animals as close lives. After him, no dog was ever just a dog again. Every animal in the street stopped feeling distant. As if they were all an extension of the same story. I began to look at them and treat them with respect, like a member of my family, like another human being. I chose the one who drew the least attention and ended up gaining confidence, empathy, and a new way of feeling. Sometimes we think we adopt an animal, but some arrive to teach us how to belong and grow. Some animals don't come to accompany your life. They come to teach you how to live it. He didn't change the world around me. The noise stayed, the problems too. But he changed the way I inhabited that world. He taught me that calm can fit inside a small body, that trust can be silent, that affection isn't always spoken, it's practiced. And because of him, I understood something I once thought was impossible. Opening up doesn't always hurt. Sometimes it heals. I don't remember the exact day I began to change. I only know it happened in simple moments, while he breathed beside me and the world, for an instant, stopped weighing so much. He wasn't the strongest dog. He wasn't the most striking. But he was the one who opened a door I had kept closed for years. And since then I walk differently, not because life is easier, but because I learned to feel it without running away. The noise is still there, but now I know calm exists. I met it once, and it stayed with me. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to English Step Stories for more English stories step by step.